Have you ever wondered what ancient civilizations believed happened after we die? It's a question that has captivated humanity for millennia, leading to some of the most fascinating and complex stories ever told. Today, we're embarking on an extraordinary journey, not to one, but to three legendary realms of the afterlife. We'll be mapping the underworlds of Greek, Egyptian, and Aztec mythology. Get ready to navigate the shadowy paths of Hades, the mystical trials of Duat, and the arduous descent into Mictlan. So, grab your adventurer's hat, because we're about to cross the threshold between the living and the dead. Let's start our journey in ancient Greece, in the realm ruled by the brother of Zeus himself, Hades. Now, contrary to popular belief, Hades wasn't a place of pure evil like the modern concept of hell. It was simply the destination for all mortal souls, good, bad, and indifferent. To get there, a soul first had to be ferried across the River Styx by the grim boatman, Charon. But he didn't work for free. This is why the ancient Greeks placed a coin in the mouth of the deceased payment for passage. Forget your fare, and you'd be left to wander the banks for 100 years. Once across the river, you'd face your next major obstacle, Cerberus, the monstrous three-headed dog guarding the gates. His job wasn't to keep souls out, but to keep them in. Once past this formidable guard, souls would arrive at the Asphodel Meadows, a vast, neutral plain where the majority of spirits resided. It was a place for the average person, a shadowy, listless existence, neither pleasant nor painful. Here, souls flitted about like ghosts, devoid of their former passions and memories. Imagine an eternity of just being there. It's a rather bleak prospect, isn't it? But not everyone ended up in the Asphodel Meadows. For the truly heroic and virtuous, there was a far better destination, Elysium, or the Elysian Fields. This was the Greek equivalent of paradise, a place of eternal sunshine, music, and joy, where heroes like Achilles and Menelaus could spend eternity in blissful peace. On the other end of the spectrum were the truly wicked. Those who had committed terrible crimes against the gods or humanity were cast into Tartarus. This was a deep, dark abyss, a cosmic prison used for eternal punishment. Think of Sisyphus, forever rolling a boulder uphill, or Tantalus, forever thirsty and hungry with food and water just out of reach. So Hades was a complex place with different districts, determined not by belief, but by the deeds of your life. Now, let us travel south to the sun-drenched lands of ancient Egypt and explore their vision of the afterlife. Do it. For the Egyptians, death wasn't an end, but a transition to a new eternal life. But getting there was an incredibly perilous journey. Duat was a complex, multi-layered realm filled with gods, demons, and daunting challenges. The journey through Duat was depicted in sacred texts like the Book of the Dead, which served as a guide for the deceased. Each night, the sun god Ra would travel through Duat in his solar barge, battling monsters like the serpent Apep to ensure the sun could rise again the next morning. The deceased hoped to join Re on this journey. The ultimate goal was to reach the Hall of Two Truths for the final judgment. Here, the deceased's heart was weighed on a scale against the feather of Mat, the goddess of truth and justice. The heart, believed to be the seat of intelligence and conscience, had to be lighter than the feather. The soul would recite a series of negative confessions, declaring all the bad things they hadn't done in life. I have not stolen, I have not lied, and so on. If the heart was light and the confession accepted, the soul was declared true of voice and granted passage to Aaru, the field of reeds. Aaru was the Egyptian paradise, a lush, idealized version of the Nile Delta, where souls could live forever in peace and plenty. But what if your heart was heavier than the feather? Well, the consequences were terrifying. Your heart would be devoured by Ammit, a grotesque creature with the head of a crocodile, the body of a lion, and the hindquarters of a hippopotamus. This meant your soul would cease to exist entirely, the ultimate end, a second death from which there was no recovery. For the Egyptians, morality wasn't just a suggestion. It was the key to an eternal, blissful existence. Finally, let's cross the Atlantic to the Aztec Empire and venture into their underworld, Mictlan. Unlike Hades or Duat, the journey to Mictlan wasn't determined by your actions in life, but by the manner of your death. Most people, those who died of natural causes, were destined for Mictlan. This was a 9-level underworld, and the journey through it was an arduous 4-year ordeal. The soul, accompanied by a spirit dog, had to overcome a series of terrifying challenges in each level. Imagine crossing a river of blood, passing between mountains that crashed together, and facing winds sharp as obsidian knives. The 9 levels of Mictlan were designed to strip the soul of its earthly identity. Each challenge was a test of endurance. You had to navigate a land where arrows flew wild, climb an obsidian mountain, and face monstrous beasts. It was a harrowing, soul-shattering trek. The Aztecs believed this journey was necessary to purify the soul. After 4 long years of struggle, upon reaching the 9th and final level, the soul would finally appear before the Lord and Lady of the Dead, Mictlantecuhtli, and his wife, Mictlantecuhtli. Upon reaching the bottom, the exhausted soul was finally granted rest. But Mictlan's version of rest wasn't a paradise like Elysium or Aaru. It was simply an end to suffering, a place of deep, quiet darkness where the soul would dissolve into nothingness. It was the ultimate conclusion of a long, difficult journey. Interestingly, Aztec warriors who died in battle or women who died in childbirth went to a different, sunnier afterlife, accompanying the sun on its daily journey. This shows how highly the Aztecs valued sacrifice and courage, rewarding it with a more glorious eternal fate. So there we have it, 3 distinct maps to the great beyond. The Greeks envisioned a morally stratified realm where your life's deeds determined your eternal address. From the bleakness of Asphodel to the bliss of Elysium. The Egyptians saw the afterlife as a test of character, a dangerous journey culminating in a final judgment where only the pure of heart could achieve eternal paradise. And the Aztecs perceived a grueling 4-year pilgrimage through Mictlan, not as a punishment, but as a necessary process of purification leading to ultimate rest. Each of these underworlds tells us so much about the values, fears, and hopes of the people who imagined them. They remind us that for as long as we have looked at the stars, we have also wondered about the darkness that follows. What do you think? Which of these underworlds do you find the most fascinating, or perhaps the most terrifying? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I love reading your perspectives. If you enjoyed this journey into mythology, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more adventures into the stories that shaped our world. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.